And
Welcome,
welcome
pod.
back into the Chris Mathis podcast. Spencer Mathis here with me. By the time you guys are listening to this podcast, my brother and I will probably be reunited for Christmas. And I know he's very excited for that, but we want to talk about it. I could tell Spencer did not want to hear that, but we are excited to be back here with you guys after what was an incredible episode last week, or a little bit over a week ago, with at the time, transfer portal tight end Kyle Morlock, a guy we went to high school with, the guy that we called his football games and kept in contact with over the years from our hometown in North Georgia. And 2 days later, after he announced his top three right here on TCM Pod, his top three schools that he wanted to go play college football at the Division I level, of course, within 2 days, he announced that he was committing and had committed to play college football at Florida State University. And I know that video, that interview really popped off. Talked to him Tuesday with Kyle Morlock. A lot of great insight. Learned a lot about Kyle, what he's trying to do at the next level, and what he was looking for in his school, his next opportunity. And he got that with Florida State. Mike Norvell had breakfast with him in our hometown in Blairsville a few weeks back. And then that very day, Norvell and the tight ends coach flew back to Tallahassee. Kyle placed the call and said, "Hey, I want to be a Florida State Seminole." Spence, what are your initial thoughts when you saw that video? Not only the fact that he was just on the podcast, but the fact that he goes into a great situation at Florida State with 2 years of eligibility, 6'7", 250-pound tight end.
Yeah, well, his top three schools, I think, were Tennessee, Florida State, and Iowa, or some school like that. So I think he made the right decision with Florida State. He's going to have a quarterback returning that really started off the year really hot for Florida State. They're going to be a top 20 team to start the season, so they've got a chance to make a postseason run. You look over at Tennessee, Hendon Hooker's going to be gone next year. He's already 24. He'll probably go to the draft this year. I don't know where he's going to be drafted after that. After I think he tore his ACL. I'm not exactly sure. But I think Florida State was the right choice. He also talked about the engineering program at Florida State, which was a huge thing for him. Talked about Mike Norvell as a head coach, the culture surrounding the Seminoles. So I think that's a perfect fit for Kyle Morlock. They also have that 6'7" receiver that's going to be lined up near him. And in the red zone, if Kyle Morlock gets as many reps as I think he's going to get with Mike Norvell as the head coach for Florida State, I think that's going to be a deadly combo. And I'm excited that he chose to wear the garnet and gold.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Kyle Morlock just on the podcast, and that took off. That obviously we were excited for our interview to help promote what he's doing and what's next for him. And not only did we do that, but it caught, of course, some light from national recruiting companies and whatnot. We saw a couple of articles get put out there as Kyle actually entrusted us to tell us his top three before any other reporter or news media outlet. And again, that was right here on TCM Pod. So that's a lot of fun. We're going to continue to do that. But 24/7 Sports, transfer tight end target. Kyle Morlock names top three, talks favorite college coaches on recent podcast appearance on TCM Pod. And then also we've got Fearing the Spear. They also posted about it. And yeah, that was really cool because obviously it was a situation in which we promoted Kyle in some way, somehow. So many people care about the transfer portal, care about recruitment in college football. And I think it's awesome because I know Kyle, I'm excited for everybody that has an opportunity to play college ball. But as just a college football fan, other than the time he steps out on the field, I didn't really care much about, recruitment or whatnot. I'm just ready for the game to get underway. So Kyle Morlock, congratulations, my man. And again, each and every episode of our podcast, including last week's Talk to Him Tuesday, is brought to you by my friends at Information on Demand. Whether you need criminal background checks, E-Verify, drug screenings, academic accreditations, or other screening services, they've got you covered. And you can rest easy knowing a highly trained search team will get you the information in just 8 hours or less. That's right, just 8 hours or less. Give them a call today, 855-914-4636. Visit them online at informationondemand.net. Again, they'll take care of you, and you can rest easy knowing a highly trained search team will get you the information you need in just 8 hours or less. They're accurate, affordable, pre-employment background screening services, 855-914-4636. And they bring you yet again another edition of the Chris Mathis podcast, a holiday edition. As you guys can see, we've got the legendary Kevin McAllister right behind us. And iconic Home Alone movie, the scene in which he's in the bathroom, does a shaving gel on his face and screams because it burns a little bit. But obviously, by the time you are watching this, you're ready for Christmas and hopefully have gotten your shopping done. I know Spencer got his shopping done. just before the recording of this episode. And I want to know what I got.
Well, I did all my shopping for everybody specifically at Spencer's Gifts, so that should tell you everything that you need to know. You'll see come Sunday or whenever we're going to celebrate Christmas. I'm not exactly sure with our
I think that'll be tonight by the time everybody's viewing this Thursday.
That's weird, but yes, you will have your gift, I guess, tomorrow or tonight. A very weird day to celebrate Christmas. I get it, but I did all my shopping at Spencer's Gifts, so just expect something weird. We'll talk about it next time.
So I need to expect the unexpected.
Yeah. Well, I think you're gonna like it.
I don't know if I will. By the way, if you guys are watching right now on YouTube or Spotify, you see Spencer's face, and he looks very mischievous right now.
Yeah, I got it from the back of Spencer's Gifts.
Oh, that's where the cool kids get to go.
Yeah.
I remember whenever you were little, you used to think it was your store. Oh, Spencer's Gifts.
Still is. It is.
Yeah.
I got a discount actually today. They gave me 10% off because I told them my name was Spencer.
I don't know if I buy that, but I'm excited to see what I got. We'll find out what you get whenever you come down here to Florida, and we'll work it out then. But I do love you. You got the love. Come on, man. We're having so much fun on this podcast. But let's talk some NFL football as we get into a big slate of NFL games, even some Saturday football games too, and Christmas Day games as well, including the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are coming off of a brutal loss to the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. They played in Tampa. They were up 17-3 at halftime, and everything just crashed and burned after halftime. And Byron Leftwich forgot what worked in the first half. He went from passing the football successfully on first down to, hey, let's run the football on first down. And he did that 3 consecutive drives to start off the third quarter, and the team just dwindled, and the rest is history. And, of course, we had a mishap on a punt fake, a botched punt by Giovanni Bernard. But before we get into that, Spence, and talk about the Buccaneers and where we're at, also want to talk about tonight's Thursday night football game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New York Jets. Jaguars 6-8, Jets 7-7. They've cooled off a little bit, but the Jaguars are heating up with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. And we're looking at the spread here, and Jets are actually a favorite at home, 2-point favorite. New York Jets over the Jaguars, who are red hot right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a super good game. The Jets, of course, like you said, have fallen off a little bit, but most of the games that they've been playing are close games. It comes down to quarterback play. You either got Zach Wilson or you got that other guy, Mike White. He hasn't done great this year. He got injured. Zach Wilson's back in the helm. He didn't do very good last week. He threw for 300 yards, but I watched the recap of that game, and he did not look good once again. So Zach Wilson isn't the future with the Jets, but I think that's going to be a very close game. In that game, I'm going to take the Jaguars, though, 6-8, and they have a chance to actually win their division. They're only 1 game behind the Tennessee Titans, and the Titans have been struggling as of recent. Derrick Henry's been running the ball like 30 times for 100 yards each game, but they don't throw the football. Ryan Tannehill's not a good quarterback. Malik Willis, their backup quarterback, the rookie, is not having a good season whenever he comes in. So I don't think the Titans are a good team, and I think that the Jaguars are going to pick up another game of steam, and they're going to be tied for first place in the AFC South. So I'm going to go with the Jaguars in that game. The spread is what, 2 for the Jets, 2.5?
2 points. Yep, 2 points.
So I think by the time the game is set to play tonight, I'm going to say that's going to be within 1 point, and I'm going to pick the Jaguars regardless.
Yeah, I'm going Jaguars too. They just came off a huge overtime win over the Dallas Cowboys. Trevor Lawrence looked cool, calm, and composed in what looked to be his second consecutive dominant start. He's had 5 consecutive starts with more than 30 or more passing attempts without an interception. First time since at least 1950 that has been accomplished. A young quarterback doing great things. And in my mind, obviously not really his rookie season, but in terms of having an actual head coach, it's his rookie season. And this guy is a freak talent. I'm excited to see what he can do in Jacksonville and hopefully turn around what is a god-awful football team for the past, 15, 20 years. Now on Saturday, we have some NFL games too. Saturday we have, how many football games do we have on Saturday?
I think
most of them are on Saturday. Yeah. New Orleans Saints travel to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Browns 3-point favorites in this one at 1:00 in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints, the Falcons, and the Panthers are all tied for second place in the NFC South. The Buccaneers are just 1 game ahead. And I think the Saints are going to win that game because you've seen Deshaun Watson struggle very mightily in the games he's played. He has not looked good. I think the most touchdowns he started in a game is 1, and his receiver had to do all the work to get into the end zone. So the Browns are not looking good. They don't seem to be able to to hit the run game that they usually do with Nick Chubb in the backfield, because the teams are just not worried about Deshaun Watson. Whenever they had Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, the teams were a little bit more scared of what the thrower could do with the football. But with Deshaun Watson back there, he's not having a great season. He's played a couple of games. Maybe he'll get his feet wet in this game, but I'm going to take the Saints with Andy Dalton in this one.
I'm going to go. I think this is the game in which Deshaun does get things figured out. 2 passing touchdowns, 2 picks. He is at home playing against a poor Saints team. Although they are poor, they're 5-9. They're still in the playoff hunt and in the race and have a shot to win the division in the NFC South. It would be a stretch, but it is still a possibility. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns at home. Give me the points too. Speaking of the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons travel to Baltimore. Baltimore, 7.5-point favorites over the Falcons at home. And that's with Tyler Huntley at quarterback for the Ravens.
Yeah, I think Lamar Jackson, they said, does have a chance to come back this week. He's practiced a little bit, so it won't be Lamar Jackson at full potential. But on the other side, you have Desmond Ridder at quarterback for the Falcons. And in his first game, I mean, he looked atrocious. The final play of the game, they could have attempted a Hail Mary, maybe some lateral plays. They were down by 1 score. And instead, he runs 15 yards down the field and out of bounds with no time left. So I'm not sure Desmond Ridder is the option. I don't know why they went away from Marcus Mariota. They still had a chance to win the division. They still do with Ridder, but I think if they have Mariota, they're tied for first place in the NFC South right now because they would have won last week. So I don't think the Falcons are a good team with Desmond Ridder at quarterback, so I'm not going to take the Falcons in this game. I'm going to go with the Ravens.
I said it coming into the season. I had the Buccaneers at 11-6. No matter what their record was going into the final game of the regular season against Atlanta, I had Atlanta penciled in to win that game, and I still stand by that. I think the Falcons shocked the Buccaneers last week of the regular season. It could really throw some things off in terms of who wins that division. But, yeah, if Atlanta was still with Mariota at quarterback, I think they'd have a legit shot to win the NFC South. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens in this game at home. Cincinnati Bengals travel to take on the New England Patriots on Sunday. Bengals 10-4 coming off a huge win, taking on a very, very I'm going to say stagnant offensive attack there in New England with the New England Patriots. And Baltimore, they're 3-point road favorites, just 3 points against New England.
Yeah. So what's the Patriots record right now?
7-7.
7-7. That's kind of impressive considering how they lost last week to the Raiders. I'm going to go with the Bengals regardless in this game. The Bengals are going to beat up on the Patriots, I believe. After you suffer a loss like you did last week where their receiver tried to lateral the ball 20 yards back to their quarterback, the most immobile player on the entire field besides the offensive line who's blocking downfield. And then the quarterback gets trucked over by Chandler Jones and he takes the blame for the play. I think that's all you need to know about the Patriots going against a very good Bengals team who needs to continue to win this game, because the Ravens, even if Lamar Jackson isn't playing, they're still only 1 game out of taking the lead in that AFC North division. So the Ravens are only 1 game back. The Bengals have to continue to win at least 1 or 2 more games. The Ravens have clinched the playoffs, but they do have a chance still to host a playoff game. So I'm going to go with the Bengals over the Patriots in this game because the Bengals need to win.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals. They proved to me why they're still a legit AFC Super Bowl contender with a huge win after being down by 14 at halftime, and they made the Buccaneers look dumb in that second half. I'm taking the Bengals in this one. Also, guys, stay tuned as we keep doing our lightning picks here for this weekend's NFL games. We will have a little bit of a Christmas special at the end of this, and it'll be worth staying tuned in for. The Chicago Bears, they'll host the Buffalo Bills on Saturday. And the Bears are 8.5-point home dogs against the Bills.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bills in this game. I think that's an easy option. I don't think the Bears are a good team at all. I feel bad for Justin Fields. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. He's going to be a good quarterback, but right now he's in the same spot that Jalen Hurts was in last season, except for Hurts had a little bit more weapons and a better offensive line than what Justin Fields is dealing with the Bears, and they have a historically bad defense to go along with that. So the Bills are most likely going to pummel the Bears. Is that a primetime game or is that just like a 4 p.m.
That
slot?
is a 1 o'clock game.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to go with the Bills regardless. I don't care. The Bills are going to beat them by over 8.5.
Now, I'm going to take the Bills and give me 2 tutties in this one. I do think Justin Fields has a decent game because he likes to run the football, and the Bills' defensive line is very subpar, believe it or not. Even though they're a very dominant football team, their defensive line is not very good. And I think Justin Fields is still going to have a couple of highlight reel plays in this one. Give me the Bills on the road, though, in Chicago. The New York Giants, they travel to Minnesota. The Vikings, 4-point favorites in this one. Another 1 o'clock kickoff on Saturday.
Yeah, I think this is the day where we see the Giants get kicked out of the playoffs. They have to continue to win games. And against a team like the Vikings, who just came back, they were down 33-0, which takes away from the Bengals comeback. They were down 17-0. No one really cares about that anymore because they came down from 33-0. Of course, it was to the Colts, but still, I think they're a pretty good team. I think the Vikings are going to make the play. They're definitely they're gonna win their division by far. So they don't really necessarily have to win this game, but the Vikings are going to absolutely beat up on them. So I'm going to go with the Vikings in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings too. No, I'm going to go with the Giants. Give me the Giants. Saquon Barkley having a good year this year. He's healthy. Danny Dimes is the only thing that is kind of questionable. But even then, he's throwing 3 touchdown passes to every interception that he's thrown this year. 12 touchdowns, 4 picks. Very low numbers. But in terms of a quarterback rating, 90.5, playing smart, high IQ football for Daniel Jones. He's doing a really good job of that. And the Giants have cooled off. They are 8-5-1, but they had a great start to the year. One of the better teams. Minnesota just squeaked by with a victory over the Colts at home. They were down by 33 points at halftime. I think, of course, the Vikings are a true playoff contender, but they're not a true contender for the NFC championship.
The thing with Kirk Cousins is he broke the record for most passing yards in a half last week against a decent Colts defense, in which, of course, the Vikings defense had to do a lot, but in that first half against the Colts, the Colts offense didn't do anything against the Vikings. It was special teams with the issues for the Vikings. The defense wasn't playing great. They forced a ton of field goals, of course, but a couple of fumbles from that Vikings offense was really all it was. And then you look at Kirk Cousins' final numbers. He almost threw for 500 yards. He threw 4 touchdowns, broke the record with just under 400 yards passing in one half. So I think the Vikings are a good team. I think Kirk Cousins is a pretty good quarterback. We're going to see how he does in primetime games down the stretch in the playoffs because they are going to be a playoff team, and I think they are a contender this year with their new head coach.
I'm still going to take the Giants on the road in Minnesota. Sounds crazy, but it's only a 4-point spread. That means Vegas knows something about this game that we don't know, and we'll find out on Saturday. Now, 2 teams that have a lot to play for that we didn't expect them to have a lot to play for, say maybe a month, 5 weeks ago, the Detroit Lions and the Carolina Panthers. The Lions, they're now 7-7 on the year. They're red hot. They take on a 5-9 Carolina Panthers team. You think, Chris, they're 5-9. Why is Carolina even somewhat in the mix here? Why are they considered, to be playing for something? Well, the NFC South is still up for grabs, and the Panthers are in second place with just 5 wins. And they already beat the Buccaneers earlier in this season. And you were there to witness that game. You went with Carson Garrett, our guy Cargar. And I hated that you guys got to witness a loss, but hopefully that'll make it better for the next time we have to play the Carolina Panthers. But a big game between these 2 teams. Carolina has to win in order to stay afloat in that NFC South. And Detroit wants to stay hot and prove that they're a true playoff contender too, because there is a way that Detroit could squeak into the playoffs. In this game, though, we're looking at Detroit. They're 3-point road favorites against Carolina.
Yeah, I've got to take the Lions in this game. I think still the Panthers are the worst team in the NFC South. It's weird watching the Carolina Panthers this year because they've had so many quarterbacks. And if their rookie Sam Howell wouldn't have got hurt, I'm sure we would have saw him as well. So we've seen Baker Mayfield to start the season, and then you saw PJ Walker. Now you're seeing Sam Darnold. He's playing decent football. He's a lot like Daniel Jones, in my opinion. I think both of those guys are going to be not career backups, but just career bridge quarterbacks, not like Teddy Bridgewater was. So I think the Panthers are the worst team in the NFC South still. I'm going to take the Lions to go above 500 for the first time in forever, especially this late in the season. This is probably the first time they've been above 500 this late in the season since like 2015 or 2016. So
crazy.
I like Jared Goff and the Lions. I think Jared Goff is having a very good season, and I'm going to take the Lions. I think it's going to be a close game because Carolina likes to play these games close, but I'm going to pick the Lions in this one by over a touchdown.
Let's see. Detroit, they've won 3 straight. They're bound to cool off at some point.
6 out of the last 7, and they're only
Carolina had so much to play for, though.
So do the Lions. The Lions are going to make the wild card if they continue to win. Carolina just lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. All right, give me Detroit. It's only a 2.5-point spread, too. I'll take Detroit and the points. We got to run through these. The devices are about to die, and I have a couple of games to run through here. So the home team, Carolina Panthers.
Hurry up.
2.5-point home dogs. Kansas City Chiefs, they'll host the Seattle Seahawks. Chiefs, 10-point favorites over Geno Smith in Seattle.
Yeah, the Seahawks led by Geno Smith have cooled off at extraordinary levels. I think the water's being poured on them right now. The ice is settling in, and I think their season is about to come to an end. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this game, and I'm going to keep that. I think they're going to win by over 10.5. So Chiefs by over 10.5 with ease. Patrick Mahomes is your MVP this season. He's having an incredible season. He's still making incredible plays. He's probably the best quarterback in the NFL right now. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs led by Patrick Mahomes.
And some would argue maybe Josh Allen.
No.
I think Josh Allen's a better gamer. You look at the numbers. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is having better numbers with a less talented roster. But I think at the end of the day, I'd take Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes. Dude, the guy is a freak athlete, man. He'll run right through a linebacker.
Until he gets
hurt. I know. Every time he runs the football, I'm scared.
He's a better Cam Newton. Patrick Mahomes is he's not a guy that's going to get hurt all the time because he doesn't run into people.
Chiefs 10-point favorites against Seattle. I think Chiefs win, but not by 10. I think Seattle plays them close. Tennessee Titans will host the Houston Texans on Saturday, 1 o'clock kickoff. Titans 3-point home favorites.
Give me the Houston Texans in this game because I already picked the Jaguars to win, and this will tie the division. This will tie the AFC South. So I'm going to go with the Houston Texans over the Tennessee Titans. I don't believe in Ryan Tannehill. Guess what Ryan Tannehill has right now? Guess what he's suffering?
I don't know.
2 sprained ankles like Carson Wentz, and he's a player that's a lot like Carson Wentz. He's decently mobile, but this year he is absolutely trash. He's been playing through a lot of injuries, and if Malik Willis has to come in, give me the Texans by even more, but I'm going to take the Texans this game. With Davis Mills, they are a horrible team, but with how bad they are right now, I think they're 1-11-1 or something along those lines. They can still win another game and end up with the first pick in the draft. So I'm going to take the Texans. It's going to be a big game for them, and they're going to win this one by 7.
1-12-1 Houston Texans. I'm going to take the Titans at home to win this game. San Francisco 49ers, they'll host the Washington Commanders 4:05 kickoff on Saturday. 49ers 7-point favorites. Brock Purdy 2-0 takes on Taylor Heineke this week.
I'm going to take Brock Purdy. I think he's a good quarterback. I think any quarterback in Kyle Shanahan's offense is going to thrive. We've seen that over the time. Jimmy Garoppolo is having a very good season for them. He's out for the year. Trey Lance, he has a chance to come back, but I think Brock Purdy is the guy right now. And for me, that cancels out Tom Brady to the 49ers next year. So I think we're going to see Tom Brady with a different team other than San Francisco because this Brock Purdy guy is good, and we may see him. I think we're going to see the 49ers in the NFC Championship. So I'm going to take Brock Purdy and the 49ers in that game.
I'll take the 49ers as well. Commanders struggling. Taylor Heineke is having a worse year than I thought he would. I was pulling for the guy. He's fun to watch, but he's not very good. Give me the Niners by 10. Dallas Cowboys, they'll host the Philadelphia Eagles in what is a big game, battle of the NFC East. First place team, second place team. Granted, the Dallas Cowboys have 10 wins compared to the Eagles 13 wins, but still first and second place. Kickoff 4:25. Dallas Cowboys, even though they've won less games, they're 5-point home favorites.
Yeah, this is a big game for the Cowboys, and they're going against Gardner Minshew, and I don't know if we're going to see Jalen Hurts again in the regular season. It's going to hurt a lot of fantasy teams in the playoffs because if you don't have, he's the best quarterback in the league this year in terms of fantasy football. He can run, he can throw, he's got great weapons, and they don't have him. And if the Cowboys win out and the Eagles somehow lose out, the Cowboys win the division. So I think the Cowboys are really going to play hard in this game. They're going to come back after that loss against the Jaguars last week in which they blew a huge lead to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. Ezekiel Elliott's heating up. Their offense is looking really good right now with Dak Prescott at the helm. That pick 6 to lose the game last week was really on the receiver. So I'm going to take the Cowboys in this game. I really don't think the Eagles are going to lose out. I think if worse comes to worse, they're going to have to play an injured Jalen Hurts in week 18. But I think Gardner Minshew's a serviceable quarterback. It's going to be a 3-point game, but I'm still going to stick with the Cowboys.
And everybody watching right now has noticed me yawn a few times. We are recording this late Wednesday night. It is airing, of course, as you guys are listening to it right now on Thursday, Friday, or maybe even Saturday. But Dallas Cowboys, I have to catch a flight in the morning. So I wanted to get in a quick pod. By the time you guys are listening to this, I'll be on an airplane. Dallas Cowboys 5-point favorites. I'll take the Cowboys at home over the Eagles. Las Vegas Raiders take on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. The Steelers 2.5-point favorites over the Raiders.
What's the Steelers' record?
Steelers' record is sitting at a nice, steady 6-8. Mike Tomlin, poor Mike Tomlin. He still has a chance. Still has a chance to even it out at 500.
I'm going to take the Steelers in this game. I think he's going to end the season. I think he's going to end the season at 8-9. I don't think they're going to win out, but I think the Steelers in this game are going to win. So I'm going to pick the Steelers in this one by a touchdown.
Yeah, and they're favorites by 2.5. It is at home. It is Saturday Night Football, Christmas Eve. Give me the Steelers. Mike Tomlin loves prime time. Doesn't matter his quarterback. Doesn't matter who he's got. I'm taking the Steelers. Now for Sunday's games. Christmas Day and Christmas night if you're a Buccaneer fan. Can Tom Brady deliver you the greatest gift if you're a fan of football?
I wish they played on
Tom
Saturday.
Brady, if you're a fan of Buccaneers. Let's start off with the 1 o'clock kickoff on Christmas Day. Green Bay Packers at Miami, kickoff at 1 o'clock. Miami Dolphins, 4-point home favorites.
Yeah, the Packers have a chance to run the table. If they win out, they are in the playoffs, and they're going against a team in the Miami Dolphins. They've lost a lot of close games as of recent, so I'm going to have to go with the Dolphins in this game, but I could really easily see the Packers trying to turn things around. They've got a tough stretch of games. They have to play the Vikings. They have to play the Lions, and this week they really got to worry about the Dolphins. But I think that their playoff hopes are going to come to an end this week. I got to go with the Miami Dolphins. Tua is having a really good season. I think they have the best receiving core in the league, at least the best duo. They've got Mike Gesicki at tight end. Their running game is incredible. And Tua is the most accurate quarterback in the NFL, and I think their defense, as long as they can step it up just a little bit, should be fine, because last week you saw the Packers. They beat the Rams 24-12. Wasn't impressive, really. They were supposed to win that game. A 12-point victory against probably the most battered team in the entire NFL. So I'm going to have to go with the Miami Dolphins over the Packers in this game.
Yeah, I will too, and I simply look at their track record. Of course, Green Bay, they've won 2 consecutive games, but you look at their opponents. The Rams, they beat by 12 points at home. Then they beat the Bears on the road by 9 points. Before that, they lost to the Titans badly. They lost to the Eagles. It was a close game, but they still lost to the Eagles. Give me the Dolphins. I like their head coach, Mike McDaniel. The guy's a stud. There's no denying that. If you haven't seen Mike McDaniel, before the game in Buffalo, he wore a T-shirt and said, "I wish it were colder." Even though it was snowing, fans were throwing snowballs at him, at his players, at his coaching staff. Mike McDaniel is the real deal. He's the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. I'm taking the Dolphins in this game. Los Angeles Rams, they'll host the Denver Broncos, 4:30 Christmas Day kickoff. Denver Broncos on the road are actually favorites in this game, 2.5-point favorites over Baker Mayfield. That's right, Baker Mayfield and the Los Angeles Rams. Brett Ripien, the quarterback for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I feel really bad right now for the schedule makers making these games before the season. Think how jam-packed this Christmas Day would have been, but these 3 games are not great. I mean, the only one that really has a big amount of weight is the Packers-Dolphins. The Cardinals don't have a chance at the playoffs. They're up next. We already see the Broncos versus the Rams. I think both teams are starting backup quarterbacks, because I don't know if Russell Wilson's out for the rest of the season. Either way, he sucked, and Matthew Stafford's out for the rest of the season. So 2 4-10 teams that before the season – everyone thought they were both going to make the playoffs. Same thing with the Packers and the Dolphins. Same thing with the Buccaneers and the Cardinals. But in theory, I think only 2 of these teams are going to make the playoffs. And that is a big if, because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers still have to win the NFC South. And I think to do that, they're going to have to at least win 2 or 3, maybe even have to win out. So this Broncos-Rams game is one with absolutely no implications for either team. I think this is going to be a game where both teams try to lose, but the Broncos are going to come out on top.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. 2 teams that I thought were going to be legit playoff contenders. I thought Denver was a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender, and they're not even a contender for their own division, AFC West. They're in 4th place at 4-10. Russell Wilson got a concussion. He's had a terrible season. I feel bad for Bronco fans out there that are tuned in right now across the country. Really, I am sorry for you guys, because I was excited for you guys to get a new quarterback, and not very good. The Los Angeles Rams, of course, rolling with Baker Mayfield. Give me Baker Mayfield. This is a home game, and I like Baker. I think he's not good. He's not great, of course, but he's gotten better with Sean McVay. I think he's a serviceable quarterback, a bridge quarterback for now.
I'll go Baker Mayfield and the Rams as well. I completely forgot about Mayfield.
Yeah, I'm going to go Baker.
Probably the Buccaneers quarterback next year.
Oh, man, I hope
not. Probably is. I'm going to call it now.
Calling it now on December 21st.
2022.
By the time that you guys are watching this, December 22nd, Spencer Mathis calls it right here on TCM Pod. Hey, they talked about Kyle Morlock in our story breaking the news. Did we just break the news that Baker Mayfield will be the Buccaneers quarterback in 2023? I don't know. We'll find out, but it's a big game this weekend, Christmas night, for an old man and Tom Brady, 45 years old. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He's taking on the Atlanta. He's taking on the Arizona Cardinals on the road in Glendale, Arizona. 6-8 Buccaneers, first place in the NFC South. 6-8, first place. Take on the 4-10, third place Arizona Cardinals. Buccaneers on the road. All things considered, how bad they've been. They've lost 2 consecutive games. 7.5-point road favorites. How? I don't know.
Yeah,
Let's be real. And I'm an optimist. I don't care who the quarterback is for the Cardinals. They are not a 7.5-point favorite. They should not be a 7.5-point favorite after how they've played this year.
Yeah, I mean, the Buccaneers, they're going to need the ghost of Christmas past Tom Brady to come back, because last week in that second half, those first 4 drives, I swear to God, Tom Brady forgot how to play football. He fumbles the ball on a strip sack. He tries to hand the ball off to Leonard Fournette by tossing it at him. He throws
Yeah.
back-to-back interceptions. He threw that game away. The Buccaneers defense played great against that Bengals offense, a high-powered offense with Jamar Chase. Carlton Davis was absolutely shut down defense. And then you have Tom Brady, the 45-year-old quarterback, turning the ball over 4 consecutive drives. So
In
the
11
Buccaneers are going
plays.
to need Tom Brady to come out there and do something. But luckily for Tampa Bay, the only 2 options at quarterback right now for the Cardinals are Colt McCoy and Trace McSorley. They
Who's that?
both suck. Colt McCoy's out. He has a concussion.
He's out.
McSorley is getting his first start. I think the Buccaneers are going to win this game. I think it's going to be by more than 7.5. I think this is going to be a game that they are going to win by more than 7.5. Brady will throw for 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think we're going to finally see a game where Brady doesn't have a turnover for the first time in 3 or 4 weeks, and the Buccaneers win this game by 10.
I hope you're right, because the Buccaneers, they need this win, not because they need it in terms of playoffs or anything like that. They just need this to build the confidence at just the right time. We saw it back in 2020, in which Tom Brady and the Buccaneers got hot down the stretch. He won it all his first year in Tampa Bay at 43 years old, and a whole new offense, whole new coaching staff. All they did was get hot at the right time. Right after the bye week, I think it was week 11 or 12, caught fire. They just need to catch fire right now. They have so many injuries up front. They're still continuing to battle through some things. I was in the locker room after Sunday's game against the Bengals. We saw the blow up with Giovanni Bernard, who had a botched punt, and that went viral. And I think there are some question marks in the locker room. You can tell the energy is a little bit off right now. I'm a little bit concerned with that, but I'm going to take the Buccaneers. They're on the road. It's Tom Brady. He's never once played on Christmas Day. It's Christmas night, 8:20 kickoff on Sunday. Can't miss this game. Tom Brady is going to deliver a Christmas gift to all NFL fans out there, especially the Atlanta Falcon fans that were killed years and years ago with a dagger to the heart after being down or after being up 28-3. I think Tom Brady delivers you, even you, Eli, Isaac, Lydia, Todd Pugh, all of you, a beautiful gift on Christmas, and he gives you a victory, and he breaks another milestone for Tom Brady, winning his first ever football game on Christmas Day. Bucks win. And that's no bias. I've been very real with the Bucks. Last week I predicted them to lose 37-17. They lost 33 or 34-23. So it was close. It was close, but Spence, as we round out another edition of TCM Pod, it's a holiday weekend. By the time people are watching this, they're
Monday
probably
night
baking
game.
the cookies.
Monday night
We do
game.
have a Monday night game. Who do we got, Spence? You team this
Chargers
one up.
Colts. Chargers Colts Monday night. You got the Colts with Jeff Saturday at head coach. Should not be an NFL head coach. They have a decent roster, but their quarterback is absolute dog shit. His name's Matt Ryan. I think he should have.
Man, that's a you just double-edged sword. All the Falcon fans.
I think this guy should have been kept on the shelf for the entire season with the elf, watching the children, because he should not be on a football field. Even before the season started, he didn't look like he should be on a football field. The Colts decided, hey, Phillip Rivers worked out for us 2 years ago during COVID. Let's sign a guy who's even worse than him, but younger. Maybe it'll work out. And it did not work out. So you see Jonathan Taylor not having a good season. Their defense is kind of let down. They blew the biggest lead in NFL history. I don't think there's any recovering from that. You're going against Justin Herbert, an 8-6 Chargers team who seem like they've done worse than 8-6 this year, but they are 8-6. They've got a chance to make the playoffs. They are in a playoff seat right now. I want to see Justin Herbert in the playoffs. I don't give a lick about the Indianapolis Colts. We already know Jeff Saturday is not going to be a head coach ever again next season.
He knew that before, though.
Yeah, we knew that before, but after you blow a 33-0 lead, it is absolutely zero chance. So I'm going to take the Chargers in this game. I don't even think we're going to see Matt Ryan. I'm not sure who the quarterback's going to be, but Matt Ryan looks like a dejected quarterback. And as soon as the Vikings scored 21 points last week, I turned on the game, and you could just see Matt Ryan. You could see him having Vietnam flashbacks of that 28-3 loss. And I think the Chargers are going to run away with this game. They're only 4.5-point favorites. Not sure about that. I think the Chargers, Justin Herbert has his best game of the season. Chargers win this game by 14 to 17 points.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm down for that. And I had something in my head, and I completely just blanked as to what it was. It did regard the Indianapolis Colts and what they're going through. But I'm going to take, of course, the Chargers in this one. Justin Herbert, I'm ready for him to win his first NFL playoff game. That's what I want to see. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But again, as you guys are probably, baking your Christmas cookies right now, or maybe sending out your little Christmas cards, or asking, or writing your letter to Santa, Spence, what's your
I want
favorite
one.
Christmas gift of all time?
iPod Shuffle, circa 2010. It was in the Christmas tree. It was the last gift we were supposed to open, but there were two. I got the blue one, of course. I forgot what color you got.
I
You
didn't
thought
get
you had
one.
the blue one. It was that's too bad.
That
Well,
was
mine
mom.
was sick.
Mom was pink. Mom's was pink.
Yeah, mine was an iPod Shuffle. My first song was "I Whip My Hair Back and Forth" by
Yeah,
Willow.
that's right, Willow. Yep.
And yeah, so I'm gonna have to go with the iPod Shuffle. That's by far the best gift. I think it was not very expensive either. I think at the time they were $50 to $100. So a great, not expensive gift that
I don't
lasted me
know.
at
We
least
have
2
to talk
years.
to Dan about that. We don't know how much it was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um, my favorite gift have to be 2017
Whoa,
Bucks game. Bucks played the Saints.
Chris Godwin.
Got to go, and I got to meet Gene Deckeroff before the game. That is by
That's the
far.
Chris Godwin game. Chris Godwin
Yep,
game.
Chris Godwin game. Yep, and that was when I realized, hey, you know what? If I keep grinding, it's gonna happen.
Yep.
And I'm gonna talk to Gene the last regular season of the last game of the season. I'm gonna hang out with him in the press box, go show him the picture of us from years ago, and I'm gonna chat with Gene Deckeroff, the
January
voice
1st.
of the Buccaneers. Then I've seen him in the hall.
The first day of the new year.
What's that?
That's the first day of the new year because the Buccaneers are away at Atlanta on January 8th, I believe. So you better be ready.
Oh,
That's
but
next
I'm
week.
talking playoff game. Playoff game.
Oh, we're not making the playoffs. You better get you. You better.
Yeah,
You better do it January 1st. Yeah.
Gene Deckeroff, the voice of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 37 years. That's why I got into sports radio. That's why I got into broadcasting in general. And of course, my dad too. But yeah, Gene Deckeroff, the man, the myth, the legend. And one day, maybe in 20 years or so, I could get a job like his. So we'll see. But yeah, I want to talk to Gene Deckeroff. All right, Spence, let's say last Christmas question for you. Would you rather spend Christmas with every single one of your best friends, all 5, 10, however many best friends you have, or what you consider to be in that group, or their idol? So Billy Bob's idol, all of their idols, all of their who they look up to most, or hang out with your best friends on Christmas?
Definitely the idols because there's going to be tons of drugs. There's going to be tons of alcohol. There's going to be tons of strippers. There's going to be tons of women. And I think I'll have a better time than hanging out with 5 to 10 people that I've hung out with my whole life. So I'm going to go.
All right, that's
with
it
the
for
idol.
that's it for the podcast. We got to get off of this thing. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Stay safe, and don't take it for granted. Another opportunity to spend time with your family, your friends. Don't take it for granted. Love you guys. Thank you. We'll talk next week. Merry Christmas, and make sure to listen to Little Drummer Boy. Go back, listen to our podcast with Kyle Morlock, Florida State tight end. And Spence, any final Christmas wish or Christmas recommendation, movie, song they need to watch?
Happy Toyotathon is just what I wanted to say to finish this podcast up.
Boom.